where all the stakeholders can come together and play their due role in their respective arena of operation. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, Dr. Noman. Now, conference co-chair and chairman, Institution of Engineers, Pakistan, Engineer Suhail Bashir, will present conference declaration, Plan of Action for Sustainable Built Environment and Communities. Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening to everybody. As Chairman, Institute of Engineers, Pakistan and co-chair of this conference, it's my responsibility to present before you the conference declaration. Dr. Noman presented the highlights, and now on the basis of those highlights and all the presentations, we have come up with some actionable items which are the key of this conference. The conference participants, stakeholders, presenters, industry experts, academics, engineers, developers, and all sectors of society have shared their willingness to establish practical path towards sustainable built environment and communities in alignment with the conference theme. Following actionable items have been proposed. Number one, there is an urgent need to utilize the youth to mobilize the country's economy. This can be achieved by providing the youth the necessary skill sets and also opportunities to establish their own business. Probably in today's evening keynote, we heard the same from Dr. Ishra Saab. Develop a database, this is actionable item number 2. Develop a database for women in various sectors. There should be no disparity in income and opportunities between men and women. Third, a comprehensive vision-based integrated coastal management ICM plan needs to be looked at, which offers a framework that can facilitate multi-sector and multi-agency involvement, focuses on creation of knowledge, building societal capacity, and enhancing governance level. Number 4, improve domestic support, access to education, and removing cultural impediments are the key recommendations for improvement in education sector. Number 5, awareness campaign needs to be initiated regarding access to justice system for women to ensure gender equality. Number 6, increase number of judges and devising social reconciliation mechanism can significantly aid to delivery of justice system as a whole for ensuring sustainability. Today in one of the sessions, one of the Honorable Judge of High Court presented the cases, the number of cases pending and the number of judges available to do this, and it was very, very alarming. The number 7, urbanization and suburbanization and development, whether be formal societies, development or high-rise development, should abide by sustainable development principles, and no such development be regulatory allowed without prior assessment of sustainability as part of regulatory approvals. Again, Dr. Ishrat mentioned that when you travel from Lahore to Pindi on GT Road, you see construction all around without any controls, without any regulatory regime. So the conference has come out with one of the aspects concerning this urbanization and suburbanization. Number 8, code development process specifically that related to sustainability aspects such as green and energy efficient buildings should be based on localized experimental validation with the involvement of R&D expertise. 9th, network of educational institutes be designed and implemented at primary, secondary and tertiary levels to cater the needs of local and required skill sets requirement and open/supported access to such networks be granted to all classes of societies, specifically underprivileged areas. 10th and the last conference declaration is partnership, which is in line with the SDG 17. Partnership should be established at local, regional, and international level to learn, fund, and mutually develop synergies for action. That academia can play a vital role in this regard, and it has been proposed that a network on sustainable development be formed at NED University with NED, Institution of Engineers Pakistan, UNESCO Chair, SDG Unit, ASHRAE, but partnering to take lead in establishing this network immediately. This is the outcome of the 2 days conference, and we look forward. We will share this declaration with the relevant government organizations, and we pledge that inshallah we will work together to carry out actions so that these whatever have been discussed and suggested are implemented in letter and spirit. I thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, our chief guest, Barrister Murtaza Wahab, Administrator, KMC, will present his address. Please, sir, join.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Sarosh Lodhi Sahab, Dr. Ishad Hussain Sahab, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu Alaikum. Extremely happy to be here to be part of this exercise. I didn't participate in the entire conference, but the time that I spent here, I got to learn about a few things, and I look forward to the declaration which will be sent to the concerned quarters of the Government of Sindh. And let me assure you that we will try our best to address the points that you highlighted in the declaration by way of whatever policy the Government of Sindh needs to implement. The experts have spoken. I think I will not be doing justice if I speak after what the experts have already stated, but I would like to mention a few things that I've observed being in public service. You know, we as a nation are fond of optics. So the title in Sustainable Engineering and Development, if you look at anything that happens in our country, whether it has to do with anything, there will be engineering, there will be some sort of development, but it won't be sustainable. And that's perhaps the biggest problem that we as a nation face right now. That even after 75 years, we don't know what's the right direction. What decisions are we making? What's the way forward? So sustainability is something which is missing in our actions. And I feel the time has come where we've become very bold in our discussions, interactions, disclosures. We should talk about this important aspect. We should talk about sustainability. We shy away from things which in the long run will be in the larger benefit of our society. Why? Because we the people want immediate things. We want something to happen right now. We don't understand that whatever is happening immediately, it might not have the best ramification for all of us. It might not have the best impact in the long run. But because we are so transient in our approach, we look at these short-lived things, we focus on optics and we don't focus on sustainability. So sustainability, I think, is the way forward. Technology is the way forward. Science is the way forward. Dr. Ishrat was talking about intellectual stimulation, Dowd Foundation, Museum. Sir, with all due respect, we as a society don't encourage questions. After 75 years, we have a science museum now where my kids go, a lot of other kids go, and they enjoy what is happening, right? It challenges their mind. But do we actually encourage this stimulation in our society, in our homes? Do we encourage this in our schools? Do we encourage this in our offices? We don't. We've become so status quo oriented. I will come, I will have a script written, I will talk about it, Pakistan Zindabad, and we leave. So I think the way forward is that since we're talking about bold things, we're taking on challenges, I think we as a nation should focus on the word sustainable now. And if it might not be the best solution immediately, but trust me, in the long run, if the decisions, if the policies that are being made today, if the way and manner those policies are being implemented today and tomorrow, if they are sustainable, we will have the right dividend, right impact in the years to come. We talk about IT, India exports $78 billion of IT annually. We are close to a quarter less than $3 billion. Same sort of population, but perhaps there's a shortage of institutes which trains the people. We don't have that many NED universities in Pakistan, unfortunately, because the idea was not on sustainable development. India focused on that sustainable development. Those nations who are now progressing, they focused on sustainable development. They made things easier. They did not have the right dividends immediately in the 60s and 70s, but right now, they've become important stakeholders in the world. Why? Because they made those bold decisions. And that's where I feel that such conferences are important if they can enable the stakeholders, they can enable the policy makers, they can enable the decision makers to focus on the aspect of sustainability. And that's where we as influencers need to influence the minds of the people that perhaps the decision may not appear to be the best decision right now. But trust me, 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, it will have the right impact on the society. So sustainability is absolutely the way forward. If we as policymakers focus on sustainable policies, just look at the aspect of climate change. Dr. Ishrat was saying that we will be a nation of 350 million people in 28 years. How are we going to feed them, give them water, power, all of these things? We're not thinking about those things. Even today, our intellectual discourse is about, this person is corrupt, this person is inefficient. We need to change our mindset. This discussion has not done justice to our nation. If we are to move forward, we make those bold decisions, we decide that yes, in 10 years' time, water scarcity is going to be a problem. How are we addressing it? Food shortage is going to be a problem. We call ourselves an agricultural society. 67% of our population is directly or indirectly connected to agriculture, but yet we are importing wheat. There is shortage of cotton, pulses, all of these things. So there's a problem in the way and manner we have addressed these issues. Why? Because long-term perspective has never been clear. I feel we are at crossroads now, and this is the time when we make those bold decisions which will enable us to probably stand on our feet in 10, 12, 15 years. So my compliments to the organizers who have focused on this important phrase, sustainability, sustainable decision making, and I hope and I pray that whatever declaration comes out of this is implemented in letter and spirit, not just by the government stakeholders, but by private stakeholders, by universities, by schools, by colleges, who actually focus on developing the minds and hearts of our youth, which will be the way forward in the next 15, 20 years, because as we all know, we have the biggest component of youth in our society. And that's an opportunity for us, provided we guide them properly. We provide them guidely, we create that enabling environment. So I think these conferences are extremely important, and not just at the level of university. Sir, I would encourage the organizers, if you want to collaborate with the government of Sindh and have this concept, emanate at schools and colleges with younger minds, I think it will have better results for the people of Pakistan and for the state of Pakistan. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you so much, sir. It's time for the presentation of mementos to our eminent guest, Our sustainable gifts include an indoor plant which has a pot of fly ash and a bag which is made up of recycled material, wrappers of potato chips at NED University, and all the conference material is being published on recyclable paper. I request Barrister Murtaza Mahab, Administrator KMC, to come forward for the presentation of sustainable gifts to our guests. So please come forward. I also request Dr. Saroj Hashmat Lodi, Conference Chair, to please join him. I also request Engineer Suhail Bashir, Conference Co-Chair, to please join. Now I request Dr. Ishrat Hussain, our keynote speaker, to receive his memento. Now I request Professor Dr. Mohammad Tufail Jokio, Pro Vice Chancellor, NED University, to please come forward and receive his memento. Now I request Professor Dr. Noman, UNESCO Chairholder at NED, to please come forward and receive his memento. Now I request Engineer Abbas Sajid, Associate Chair of this conference, to please come forward and receive the memento. Now I request Engineer Asim Murtaza Khan, President, NED International Alumni Network, to please come forward and receive his memento. Now I request Professor Dr. Abdul Jabbar Sanghi, Conference Secretary, ICSED, to please come forward and receive the memento. Now I request Dr. Farooq Arif, Conference Co-Secretary, ICSED, to please come forward and receive the memento. Now I request Dr. Saroj Hashmat Lodi, Conference Chair, and Engineer Suhail Bashir, Conference Co-Chair, to please present the sustainable gifts to our chief guest of today, Barrister Murtaza Wahab. Thank you, sir. इसके बाद Now it's time for the vote of thanks. Vote of thanks will be presented by Professor Dr. Abdul Jabbar Sanghi, Conference Secretary. Please, sir.
Barrister Murtaza Wahab Sahab, Administrator, KMC Karachi, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, former Governor, State Bank of Pakistan, Professor Lodi, Dr. Asim Murtaza, Suhail Bashir Sahab, Abbas Sajid Sahab, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. As a conference secretary, it is my proud duty to extend my sincere thanks to all the conference keynote speakers, presenters, esteemed panelists, uh, organizers, the team of volunteers, and the management team who have worked tirelessly to organize this two-day event. As you are aware that the conference was jointly organized by Institution of Engineers Pakistan, Karachi Center, SDG Unit, Planning and Development Department, Government of Sindh, NAD University of Engineering and Technology, Karachi, and ASHRAE, Pakistan, being the associate partner. Here I would especially like to highlight the role that the Institution of Engineers Pakistan, Karachi has been playing in synergizing such efforts. We talk about the SDG goals and especially the SDG number 17 that focuses on partnerships. This is where I think institutions like IEP can play a leading role, and which IEP Karachi Center is already doing. IEP is a member of more than 40 international and regional engineering professional organizations. It's also a member of a very important regional organization called Asian Civil Engineering Coordination Council. And this organization has been working to address the issues related to sustainable development. Especially its committee TC number 14 is focused on sustainable infrastructure. And IEP has been very strongly contributing to this committee. Apart from that, IEP is also involved in work with American Society of Civil Engineers and Japan Society of Civil Engineers, who have been our leading partners. Mostly all the development projects that you see in the country, they are funded by these external donor agencies. So I would especially like to highlight the role of the IEP in this regard. I would like to take a couple of names which have been instrumental in helping organize this event. I would especially like to mention the conference co-secretary, Dr. Farooq Arif. He has been instrumental in planning and executing all the events that we see here. I would like to highlight the team led by Professor Noman Ahmed, especially Ms. Kosar Hashmi. She has been working day and night to successfully organize this event. And in the overall logistics, I would also like to mention Dr. Shamsoon Farid and his team, who have been instrumental in successfully executing this conference. In the end, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the role of the Government of Sindh, especially the SDG unit, Mr. Naveed Sheikh, Program Manager. They have been really helpful as the major partners of this conference, and without their contribution, this conference would not have been successful. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
It's time for the group photograph. I request our whole team to please come around the stage for the group photograph. आप लोग सर आप लोग ऊपर रहिए, स्टूडेंट्स नीचे आ जाएंगे. सर कोई मसला नहीं.
I'm sorry, I forgot to name Ms. Faiza. She has been instrumental in conduct of this event throughout.
This brings us to the end of this session. Please join for the high tea after the Maghrib prayer. Thank you for your patient hearing.